How many hours did you sleep last night? My watch records my sleep. It's not good. But my guest this week sleeps 9 hours a night in a row. Julia Forbes is a sleep editor of U.S. News and World Report. On this Dying to Ask podcast, how Julia became a sleep expert, a simple hack to get a better night's sleep tonight, why mattresses really do matter and how you can pick a good one, a deep dive into the sleep divorce trend, and advice for people like me who work non-traditional hours on how you can feel better when getting 9 hours in a row is not an option. Julia, welcome to the Dying to Ask podcast.
Thank you so much for having me on.
I'm going to start with a confession. That confession is I slept 4 hours and 23 minutes last night. I know that because I wear an Apple Watch and I actually track sleep. And I knew when I got up and I saw that, I'm like, I'm talking to the sleep expert today. This is not good.
Well, I have some tips to share with you, so hopefully we can get back on track tonight.
Okay, you have a tip that involves an 18-year-old son?
You know, I do. Brother. To be fair, I love sleeping. I'm in the right line of work. I will be honest with you, for my own health and sanity, I aim for 9 hours every night.
I love it.
Like generous. I did not sleep that great last night either. I adopted a puppy yesterday and he is getting acclimated at home.
Okay.
So not quite an 18-year-old boy, but definitely.
There are some, you know what, Julia, there are some similarities, I will tell you, but I know you understand it then. How on earth does one become a sleep expert? I'm fascinated by this very, very small niche you have carved out for yourself.
Honestly, I am too, because this is one of my first jobs out of school. My parents are like, let's do law school. And I'm like, I don't think that's for me. So I essentially started as an editor. And this was during the height, COVID had just broken out. People were going home and sheltering in place, and noticed their mattress that they had, not that great. So at that time, I kind of just dove right into the world of testing mattresses and sleep products and learning more about sleep health. And then all of a sudden, day over day, you learn more and more and more. And then years have passed at this point, and I'm like, whatever questions you have, just send them my way. Because I know I say way too much about sleep health and products that support your sleep. Please don't ever ask me about a 401k or anything like that.
But if you want to know which mattress is the best, you're the girl.
Yeah, I'm like the history of memory foam 101. Here we go. Like PowerPoint right behind me. And my parents are like, this is Christmas dinner. Can we like switch gears a little bit? I'm like, no, you need to know this.
So you know what I think is so interesting though, is that what you have become an expert in is so universal, because we all sleep and need to sleep. And at some point, most of us have had a really bad night's sleep, and the repercussions it has on your interactions with other people, your health, your overall mood, your well-being, your motivation, everything is tied to how many Z's you got.
It really is. And I know how crazy life can get, how busy we can get, and how that can mess with our sleep schedule. But above all else, if this is how you create time for yourself and your overall health, it is worth it, because sleep is our battery. It makes sure that we are ready to take on the day. And without proper sleep and support and vice versa, you're just not going to be ready, and your health is not going to be where it needs to be. So again, everyone needs to sleep. So I'm happy to.
How do you go about testing mattresses? How does that actually work? Because a mattress is one of those weird things. You don't buy it that often, so you're not really an expert in it. Like, I know when I go to buy running shoes, I know what feels good. When people say like, well, what kind of mattress do you like? I don't know. I've been sleeping on this one for 15 years and I just know it doesn't feel good anymore.
I love that question. So first of all, if you've had your mattress for 15 years, you need to go ahead and get rid of it, because a mattress, its lifespan is around 10 years. And those materials after night over night start to break down. And you want optimal support, you want optimal comfort. And, you know, if your mattress is kind of literally falling down on the job, it might be time to get this upgrade. So essentially, sleep is so nuanced and so niche. Yes, it's a universal experience, but everyone has different needs. Everyone has a different body type. And that really goes into the selection process for a mattress. So I like to say I am the mattress expert because, again, I know way too much. But I love to be like, a little quiz moment where someone's like, what's the best mattress? And I'm like, well, let me ask you these 10 questions and then we'll figure it out. But essentially, it comes down to things like, what is your sleep position? Do you prefer to sleep on your side, your back, your stomach, or a combination of these? The joke that I have running is one of the gas station roller hot dogs. That's usually how I sleep because I'm always
Yeah.
moving. So is your mattress equipped to support you as you move? Are you a couple? Are you sleeping for two, essentially? So you got to make sure the support level is adequate for two people. Do you have health concerns like sleep apnea? Do you have the capacity to have an adjustable base where you can just kind of lean up in the middle of the night to make sure your airway is open? So it's answering questions that are pertaining to your experience that really kind of set that foundation of selecting a mattress. And I
You're
know
like the mattress matchmaker.
I like to think so. I like to
Yes.
think so.
And is it like this with you all the time when somebody finds out what you do?
From my 9 to 5, yes. And then sometimes thereafter. Yeah. I mean, like friends and family find out what I do because, they'll be like, hey, what's your job? Because, checking in and I'm like, oh, I'm the sleep editor at US News and World Report 360 Reviews. And they're like, wow, over the head. Does not know what that means. But with this fountain of knowledge, essentially, it's basically my professional mission to help people get the sleep that they need via the product reviews that we do and vice versa.
Yeah.
So I'm really hands-on, to say
I
the least.
love it. I
So
love it.
it's
Everybody's got a thing, and I just love that you kind of stumbled into your thing, and now we all get to
yeah.
benefit. Okay, so you just did this huge survey. You guys surveyed 1,200 people for this annual sleep survey. First of all, where do you get all these people?
We have a poll that goes out to readers, and every year we do this, and then they send back their responses. And then we glean from this data kind of year over year trajectory, trends, and vice versa. And this data is super helpful because when we report on it, we're like, hey, again, everyone needs to sleep. And we're finding that XYZ, like, hey, we all have similar sleep habits that are concerning. Maybe we should work on that. Or new trends that are coming up, or concerns that change year over year or maybe stay the same. So again, it's topics that are, I don't want to say universal, but are very present. And
Oh, I think universal's fair. I mean, I really do. There are very few things that are universal. This would be one of them. So let's start going through some of your results. The first one is that 76%, so 3 out of 4 of us say stress has kept us up at some point over the last year. Now, I don't know what's happening with that fourth unicorn there, that they're saying that they don't have any stress and that it's not keeping them awake. I find that hard to believe. But anyway, 3 out of 4 of us say that we're being kept up by stress. The things that are keeping us up are the cost of living, gun violence, and the fact that we have an election this year. Did that surprise you?
No, so every year we report year over year trends, right? And that's going to change depending on what's happening that year. The one thing that did kind of surprise me, though, was cost of living for the third year running was the number one concern. People are reporting back to us, and we don't have the super granular data of exact focuses within that, but the overarching theme of, hey, I'm kind of concerned about how expensive this all is, and then building from that. So everything else in that line makes sense given the current events of this year. And then similarly for bad sleep habits for the third year running, people reported that going to bed at different bedtimes was the number one stumble blocker, what have you, on why they weren't sleeping well or establishing a good sleep routine. Which to me, I'm like, come on, guys. It's the third year. We knew this was an issue. Let's work on it. So I'm hoping that we can glean some tips and tricks, things to try on how to get that sleep routine improved.
Yeah, no, I agree. We'll get to that here in just a little bit. We'll give people actually some actionable things they can try. One of the other trends that emerged is that the sleep divorce, which got really buzzy over the last couple of years, is getting even more popular. So this is the idea that you say to your partner, love you, but I do not love sleeping with you anymore because I can't sleep. So that could be everything from sleeping in another room to even having separate beds in the same room.
Hey, honest and open communication is so important to any relationship. So again,
you could be a relationship expert too. They might be one and the same in sometimes.
You know what? There is truth in that statement. But sleep divorce sounds scary, but I promise you, this might be something that ultimately helps your relationship, because during our study, we've seen positive trajectory of more and more people participating in this trend. And when I see that, I'm like, okay, it would be negative if less people were trying it and saying, hey, this didn't work, and they fell off bandwagon. It's the
Right.
opposite here. So essentially what this means is you and your co-sleeper, your partner, have the conversation, hey, this isn't working. We need to set up different sleep spaces. And for whatever reason, maybe it's like you don't like your mattress firmness and they like another, or they have sleep apnea and their snoring is keeping you up, whatever it may be, you decide to just go ahead and set up your own gig. So this could be anything from setting up in a completely different room. This could be setting up in the same room, 2 different beds, whatever really works for you. The idea is you have your own individual space so you can get exactly the support, the comfort, and the environment that you need conducive for your sleep schedule. So it might be something to try. Again, it
Yeah.
sounds scary, but at the same time, like it makes sense. It
If
makes
it
sense.
works for you, why not?
Exactly.
You know, I noticed we were buying a new mattress last year, and I noticed that the mattress industry is responding to that because there were quite a few different types of mattresses, different brands, where they had like say a king bed, but there were two individual mattresses that kind of, you know, were
Okay.
side by side.
Yep.
Do you know what I'm talking about? So that you
Yep.
could pick the one that worked for you.
Yep, that is becoming more and more prevalent. Split kings. I know my parents have one. So it's just whatever works for you. And again, what makes it so exciting to be in this kind of day and age is that there's so many options to try and available to us to just improve our sleep. We're not going to be completely helpless. Like we have resources, which makes me ready and
Very
to
happy.
help out. Yeah.
So another trend that's starting to pick up is something called the Scandinavian sleep method. What is that?
So very similar to sleep divorce. Essentially, if you and your partner, if someone is a blanket hog, this is the trend I want you to try. So
Okay.
what this trend is essentially is instead of sharing one comforter, one duvet, one blanket, each person gets their own. And in the traditional sense, people have been using twins, but let's say you're really tall like I am. I'm about 5'10", and my husband is about 6'4". You get a nice queen size. You do whatever works for you. And then having your own sort of covering, you get your own comfort level that works for you. Maybe someone's a hot sleeper and you're not, and vice versa. But just the simple act of not tugging back and forth or having to share lets you sleep deeper and more peacefully. And again, it's a simple solution, but we've seen positive trajectory year over year. So it could be worth a try for you and
That
your
is, that's like low cost, low barrier way to do that. And I
exactly,
mean,
yeah.
who doesn't want their own blankie?
That's what I'm saying. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. I
Who
think
doesn't
everyone
want their
has
own blankie?
their own preferences. And you know what? Make it fun. Get a little decorative
Yeah.
blanket. You're like, this is my favorite color. Like, why not? Right?
All right, let's get to some stuff that we can do to hopefully sleep better. Can you give us 3 things that you know tend to help most people get a better night's sleep?
Absolutely. So, number one is establish a time to go to sleep. The number one bad habit that was reported to us, I said earlier for the third year in a row, was different bedtimes every night. And that kind of inconsistency actually messes with something that you have internally in your brain called circadian rhythm. And circadian rhythm can be likened to kind of like an internal alarm clock. From the time that you get up in the morning to the time that you're getting ready to go to bed, your body is almost on this timer. And it just gets you to where you need to go energy wise from the moment your eyes open to the moment your eyes shut for the day. So by setting that bedtime at a consistent time, and I know it gets really crazy, life is crazy, but just try, and it may make a considerable difference. Let's say 10 o'clock is your goal. Continue going to bed at 10 o'clock every night. And then over time, your body is going to recognize, hey, we're approaching bedtime, so I'm getting a little sleepy. And you want that because that's just an easier way to go ahead and
And
start.
really, you're saying 7 days a week. Like, give yourself a bedtime and you just need to stick with it because you're most likely to have that consistent sleep if you do that.
Consistency is the key
All
word.
right.
It's tricky, but I have all the confidence that we can do all the
All right.
confidence.
How about your second tip for people?
Second tip actually connects quite well to the first one. So for those of us that love reading on our devices or scrolling on social media to wind down before we go to bed, this one's going to be a little bit harder. I want you to go ahead and put that device away an hour before bed, your planned bedtime. And essentially why I want this is, or recommend this, I should say, is that blue light is what is found in sunlight. Blue light is also what's being emitted via your screen. So when you're taking that in, your brain is like, not time to go to bed yet. I have plenty of daylight. Let's keep going. And that also keeps you up. And then in some cases, if you're scrolling through social media, I think the term is doom scrolling these days.
Mhm.
And you kind of come across these stressors and these posts, your adrenaline can start going. So it's better to just go ahead and put that away for the day and the night and just start your sleep routine. And that can be like take a shower, maybe do some light stretching before bed. That's one of my favorites. Brush your teeth. I love reading a paperback book. Do not do horror. Do not do anything that's going to get your stress levels up, like a nice biography or a nice.
This is actually not unlike the advice you give to parents of newborns and small children. That sleep routine is pretty critical, right? So
Yep.
doing that same thing and letting your body know this is the time of night that we start doing these things. What's the third one?
This one's a personal favorite of mine. So pay attention to what you're wearing when you go to bed. So to be able to fall asleep, your body actually needs to lessen its body temperature just by a few degrees and cool itself off. And that allows the body to just kind of enter this state of deep relaxation. And then, of course, you get the cycles of REM and vice versa. But people don't really pay attention to what they're sleeping. And so they might be overheating or maybe a little bit too chilly. And that really messes with your sleep schedule as well, because you're tossing and turning and trying to get comfortable and maybe warm up or cool off. So make sure your room temperature first is set to a nice, like 73, 74 degrees. Maybe you need a little bit cooler for health reasons, vice versa. Again, listen to your body. But having that baseline really helps. Now, from here, it's like, what pajamas are you wearing? Make sure it's not too heavy. Do you have too many blankets on your bed or not enough? Kind of find the perfect formula that works for you. This one's an interesting one though. Wear socks to bed. So you would not believe that your feet are a huge component of your body's temperature regulation. You'd be like, oh, I'm going to wear socks. It's going to be too hot. But no, my friend, it's actually the opposite. They help make sure your blood is flowing. And then if you're just covering them up and making sure that you're wearing socks to bed, it actually helps cool you off quicker so you can fall asleep. So that's like a little hack that you can try.
That is a great one. I love that.
Yeah, I'm a
Is
hot
there
sleeper and I'm like religious about my sock collection. So
is there a magic temperature that the room should be at?
again, it kind of just depends on the person. So I like to do a nice 73 to 74, but in the summertime, I live in the South, so humidity is crazy.
Sure.
So sometimes that needs to be bumped to 71, whatever works for you and your power bill, just kidding, and your sleep schedule. But it can come down to also things like accessories. Like if you don't want to mess with your thermostat, do you have the right sheets? Do you have the right blanket? Do you have the right mattress?
Okay, you just read my mind because the sleep, there is an industry that preys on our sleep, right? And over the last few years, it feels like so many things have come out, everything from weighted blankets to blackout curtains to white noise machines to, you name it. And it feels like there's like a gadget for everything. But it sounds like what you're saying is a lot of this just comes down to very basic things.
Yes, and I don't even know if, well, here's the thing, right? Or genius, because
Yeah,
as
probably both.
we kind of both, because resource wise, again, sleep can be so nuanced, and one person's sleep schedule is going to look very different than another person's. But the commonality is we need to sleep. We need to sleep to be in the best shape, best health, and vice versa. So in this case, it's looking at, hey, is my bedroom setup setting me up for success? And that could be technically a fourth sleep tip if you'd like. Blackout curtains, they work.
They
Because
do.
again, it goes back to sunlight and blue light because you want to make sure nothing's getting into you. Make a nice little cave, experience, making sure that no light can get in and disrupt your sleep schedule. So the power of blackout curtains cannot be understated. But if you don't want to make that investment, hey, a sleep mask works too. But even little changes like that can go a long way.
Do you track your sleep? Do you believe in
I
that? Is
do.
that a good thing to do?
I do, and that can be tricky. So essentially, sleep trackers are just another way for us to understand health trends and kind of how we're sleeping, maybe some issues that have been arising and we need to monitor. I know that there can be a lot of anxiety around sleep trackers because it's like, oh, I didn't sleep well. I need to get my 9 hours, Don't put so
Hmm.
much pressure on that, I would say, and more so just look at it holistically, right? I think talking to your doctor and medical professionals, of course, is always the best method or route to take if you have serious, serious sleep concerns, right? But if you're just like, I'm curious to see if I'm just like moving around too much in the middle of the night or how many hours am I getting, having that broad overview, a sleep tracker is great. But again, if you really, really need to get into the details, maybe go talk to a medical professional
Yeah.
because they can help you plan out next.
Rather than saying I heard it on the Dying Desk podcast. Okay, so on this show, we always like to take this great information we get from an expert like you and then like apply it to our real life. So when we talk about sleep, it's important because without getting that good sleep, it can affect so many other things. So if you have these great goals or motivations or plans, one night sleep, let alone a couple nights bad sleep, can really interfere with your ability to perform and your health.
Yep, it can really throw you off kilter and it's all connected, right? And I could be like, getting the right mattress is connected to getting better sleep and then your sleep environment. But at the core of it all, sleep is intrinsic to brain health, autoimmune function, whole body wellness, your energy levels. And then that's kind of a domino effect from there because if you do not feel your best in any of those aspects, and that's just a small fraction of the ways that sleep supplements us, it throws your entire day off kilter, throws your health off kilter. So taking the time as a self-investment sort of approach, if nothing else, sleep is necessary. And, I know how busy life can get. I know I keep saying that, but I'm like, please, your fellow sleep editor is begging you, please take the time to listen to your body, what it needs. And granted, we're all going to have an off night, an off day, off night, now and again. It just happens. But that consistency comes back into play, right? Where we want to try and establish a healthy sleep routine, a healthy sleep schedule, so we can just go into the rhythm and your body can say, hey, your internal dialogue, monologue. I slept for 4 hours, but I'm just going to go ahead and try and go to bed a little earlier tonight and just get back on track.
And rebound. And
Yeah.
rebound, get back on track. Never too late to work on this stuff. Okay, so this has all been leading up to, because I know people are wondering, okay, how much does she sleep? And the answer, I think, is going to astound them.
Yes. Well, it goes to show I'm in the right industry, right? So I
Okay.
aim for 9 hours every night. My family makes fun of me all the time because they're like, you're young, you should be going out on the town and blah. No, I want to go to
9
bed at,
hours.
yeah, I need at least 9 hours. I learned the hard way in college that I would never be able to proficiently succeed with less than 3. All-nighters were off the table.
Yeah.
And I've just kind of rolled with that over the past, I would say, decade, because 9 hours for my health needs and my schedule and vice versa, I don't feel like I'm the best I can be without it.
So
But it is,
okay, so what is your bedtime? What time do you go to bed?
yeah,
What are you
so
wearing? All answer all the things that you just talked about.
yes, so I have a mattress that I love so much. I took it home from, I was like, I tested it out and I was like, this is great. And I needed a mattress really badly. So I make sure, of course, my sleep environment is as described to you guys. It is equipped to support me, my husband, and our sleep needs. And again, I am always on the move in my sleep. I'm like a little rocket. So it's always going to support me. So I make sure that foundation is good to go. Pajama wise, I'm a hot sleeper. So I'm looking for materials like cotton. Actually, wool is temperature regulating if you didn't know. So in the winter, kind of lean towards that. Socks for sure, but make sure I'm wearing the right pajamas, that the room is nice and crisp, again, as a hot sleeper. But I really aim for that 9:30 bedtime, 10 at the latest, just because having that wind down routine I just described, I put away my phone. I start going through my sleep routine. I start doing some mindful exercises, mindful breathing, and that knocks me out. And
Wow.
with that, it really helps. I've seen with my energy levels, with how I'm ready to take on the day, overall health, and vice versa. And this is my experience. So all I can say, again, I didn't go to medical school, and I know my parents would have loved that as a backup into law school.
Yeah.
But it does make a difference putting sleep first as just a health initiative, as a sanity initiative. It's worth it. I can say that with all confidence.
I 100% believe you. One last question. Do you wake up without an alarm?
I do.
You
I do.
do.
So,
And are
this,
there like birds chirping and like
yes,
angels weeping as you wake up?
maybe not the angels, but
Yeah.
it's kind of twofold, right? Some mornings I am programmed to just wake up right at 7 on the dot, or later on, depending on what's going on with the day. Again, we're aiming for the 9 hours, but life can be a little bit nuanced. Sometimes I'll sleep in, don't judge me. But I have my dogs, and my dogs are like, Mom, time for breakfast. And
It's time to
they'll
go.
they'll sometimes try it. They'll be like, I'm like,
Yeah.
ma'am, it's 5 in the morning. Like you are, and I'll quickly go back to sleep. But it's a little bit of them accidentally training me in that regard. Like again, I feel like my parents out there where their kids are like, hey, it's time to go. And they're like, what time is it? So even though I have my two dogs that are teeny
Yeah.
tiny, they're like, it's time for breakfast at this hour.
I feel like the takeaway though is when you can, you should take advantage of it and it's worth the
Yeah,
time to make this investment. So what are some
absolutely.
good ways for people to learn more about your sleep study and also to keep up with you and the work that you're doing?
Yes, well, we have all of our information on our website, of course, but you can head over there whenever you feel like it. We put out, my team and I, great reviews and articles, research all of the time that we put a lot of pride and thought into. So if you ever had questions about the best type of sheets, very, very intricate questions of being like, what is the thread count? Does that mean
You've
anything?
covered it.
I've covered it. And I'm like,
Yes.
thread count means like, some cinematic dramatic pause. And I come over, I'm like, well, the mattress material mean XYZ. And if you put them together, but we've
Oh
put a
my God,
lot of
Julie,
fun.
you must be a blast at a party. That's all I can say. Because
I was just gonna say
if
the
I
same
found you in
thing
the corner of
too.
a room, I'd have a million more questions to ask you. And we'll be sure to link to all of this in the show notes for this episode. Thank you so much for joining. I mean, you're just absolutely charming, and I love that you love what you do so much. It definitely comes through.
I'm very lucky, and I thought the same thing about you. So maybe one day we'll meet each
Oh.
other at a party and just exchange sleep tips on how things are going on in
I would
class.
love it. And for your sake, I hope I've had more than 4 hours and 23 minutes, and I will do my best the night before.
Early bedtime for you tonight for sure, for
Without a
sure.
doubt. Without a doubt. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Deirdre Fitzpatrick, morning news anchor and host of Dying to Ask. My guests wrote the book, launched the product, won the race, or cracked the ultimate life hack to live bigger by living smarter.
This opened up a door, and things will never be the same again.
One thing I've learned is that you have to think it before you can do it. Join me for the podcast that pulls back the curtain on the people who turn big dreams into real life success.
Isn't that an awesome thing to be able to say about any career?
Subscribe to Dying to Ask wherever you listen to podcasts.